Hey guys, and welcome to another episode of my Trove Let's Play series. Today we are going to be going over the Chloromancer because I did hit level 30 on the Chloromancer. Sadly, you guys aren't going to be able to see it because just like last time, I wasn't paying attention while leveling this guy up. Whenever I leveled him up, I actually don't remember when I leveled him up. But yeah, I just didn't pay attention, so I went over the 30 limit. But you know, who really cares about that explosion? It does look nice. It does make for a pretty awesome thumbnail. I really like when I do it on camera, more for the thumbnail than anything else. And plus it was like a tradition. I've been doing that since I started the Let's Play almost 2 years ago. So it was kind of a tradition, but we only have one class left after this guy, and I did do it right for that one, and that's the Fate Trickster, but that's for the next video. He is not level 30. We will get a amazing thumbnail for him, at least in my terms of amazing thumbnails. I'm so bad at thumbnails, but that'll be for the next time. This time, yes, I hit level 30 in the Chloromancer, but it's more about the discussion of the Chloromancer, my opinions on the Chloromancer. Remember, my opinions. Some people sometimes forget that opinions are to each their own, so you know you don't have to always agree with that. If you look at the Boomeranger video, not a lot of people play the Boomeranger apparently, according to some people. But let's not get into that. I'm not trying to bash anybody. So the Chloromancer, I have a long history of the Chloromancer. If you guys have been watching for a while, at least the past year, over a year, I think the Chloromancer has been out now. It's actually been a long time, and he was only 2 classes ago. That shows kind of how much they've dialed back on the classes. But I mained the Chloromancer for a long time. I was one of the only Chloromancer mains for a while, because the thing that I do the most in this game, I don't do it anymore. I kind of stopped doing these because it got too big for what it is. Being my weekly carries on the live stream. It was just, the reason why, just because I know a lot of people ask all the time, I have never addressed it yet. I do reply to some comments, but I'm very, very busy always making videos, so I don't always get to reply to everybody. But the reason why I don't do the carries anymore is because it was getting too big for what it is. It's a carry. I can only get 7 people at a time. It's not my limit. You know, I wish I could carry everybody at once, but when it used to only be around 30 to 40 viewers is what I used to average. And then it started growing and growing and growing and growing until I was averaging well over 100 viewers every single stream. And it, sometimes even up to 200. And that's a lot of people signing up for only being able to carry 7 at a time. So that's why I don't do it anymore. It got too big for what I could do in the realms of what the video game allows me to. So yeah, that's the only reason. I mean, I would like to go back, but it brought a lot of stress. It brought more stress to me than enjoyment at that point. Even though, yeah, it's awesome getting, a lot of viewers. And I don't want to sound ungrateful either. I was in a very privileged spot by, obtaining that success, but it was just getting a little too stressful. But I have no problem streaming anything else. Like, I had 300 people watched me suck at CSGO, so it's not the viewer count that was anything. It was the exact thing that I was doing carries, and only being able to do 7 at a time. Because then, you got a lot of people be like, when's it my turn, and stuff like that. And it gets a little stressful. But anyways, not to talk about that, I just wanted to make sure everyone knew why I don't do the carries anymore, because I get that asked every single day, because that's why I'm talking about it. Because that was the biggest thing, I think, to my community, was every single week I made sure that everyone got their hard modes, and when Ultra modes came out, I made sure everyone got their Ultra modes. I was soloing Ultra Dollar the Moon every single week for people. And the Chloromancer helped me out a lot when it came out, back in the hard mode days. The Chloromancer was my main for a very long time because it was amazing at carries. And that being the biggest and most hours I put into the game was through carries. It was a very wise choice. However, nowadays I don't really have the same, I don't main him anymore, and now I'm not doing carries with him. I stopped doing carries with him way before Mantle of Power came out anyways. But now that I don't do carries with it anymore, my love for the class kind of dwindled, because the class for farming, since that's the only thing I would do with it, just basically leveling up. Again, I don't main him, so I don't play him outside of farming dungeons. For farming dungeons, he's pretty annoying to play. And that's actually a popular opinion for once. Wow, something that I think is popular, or in the majority of an opinion. A lot of people don't really like playing the Chloromancer, and I'm kind of in the same boat for farming, because it's just annoying. You have to chase down range mobs, and sure, the Clash Gem kind of helps out a little bit, but not too much, because, you know, you have to proc it, and it's an 8% chance to proc. Average. It's not confirmed or anything, but that's the average. Is an 8% chance to proc that Gatling gun. So yeah, it's just for farming purposes pretty annoying. For Shadow Towers, it was amazing. I love the Chloromancer for Shadow Towers. It dealt back, remember, before Mental Power ever came out. It dealt a lot of DPS. It was the highest DPS class in the entire game, and it was also the tankiest. I mean, the Tomb Raiser was tankier, but that's not needed. That's worthless tankiness. He was perfect. He was just a much better version of the Revenant when he first came out. That's kind of like the theme that Tron used to do. I don't know how many people have been playing for past couple years, but Tron, ever since the Boom Ranger came out, the Boom Ranger was the start of this trend, and the trend was every single time a new class came out, Tron made sure that it was much better than the previous class that they released in every single way possible. Dino Tamer kind of breaking that trend, because, well, he was bugged when he first came out, and it was still true when he first came out, because the Dino Tamer was extremely powerful. It cut down speedrun times like crazy, because I think it was his right click that was bugged, right? I can't think of the word, the net. I think the net did double damage. I can't remember. But when he was bugged, he was he was amazing. But now they nerfed him, and he's not that great anymore. He's still middle ground. He's not the worst class in the game, but he's also, you know, he's nowhere near as powerful as he was. But anyways, back on track before I start rambling on. Their trend was just to always make sure every class was much better than the previous class in every single way possible. They kind of cut it with the Lunar Lancer. They toned down the Lunar Lancer's tankiness, but they made him extremely powerful in terms of his number one. He was actually the best U6 Uberworld farmer until Mountain Power. Actually, no, Revenant beat him. But anyways, yeah, ever since the Boom Ranger, you know, the Boom Ranger was much better than every single class in the entire game. He was the highest DPS, and he was the tankiest, and he provided the most utility. After him came the Tomb Raiser. The Tomb Raiser wasn't the best DPS in the game, but he was most definitely the strongest in terms of tankiness. So I made the Tomb Raiser when he came out, because, again, I did carries. And Tomb Raiser came out for the launch of Trove. After the Tomb Raiser, they made Lunar Lancer. Lunar Lancer was amazing damage. They did, like I said, dial back his tankiness, but that's not the most important thing in this game. This game is all about DPS, so he was just much better than the Tomb Raiser and the Boom Ranger. And then they came out with the Revenant. The Revenant was amazing. He was higher DPS than the Lunar Lancer and tankier. The Chloromancer came out. Chloromancer was much higher DPS than the Revenant and tankier. And then, you know, they keep going on and on. I'm glad they kind of broke that trend. Like I said, they released one class in or two classes in the past year, so they definitely dialed it back. They used to release a class every month, I believe it was. It used to be the dragon was at the end of the month and the class was at the beginning of the month, or vice versa. But that was their trend. So I am kind of glad they dialed it back. Definitely easier for newer players to get into the game because they don't have to farm as many classes. But back then, they used to be available for cubits as well. So, you know, basically just a lot of things have changed in this game. But yeah, for that purpose, amazing. I love the Chloromancer for Shadow Towers because Chloromancer is one of the only classes that has an actual rotation. Through my testing, you know, at least back in hard modes, like I said, it was right click, it was potion, right click, 1-1-1, potion, right click, 1-1-1, potion, right, like it was a proper rotation, and it was the first class to actually do that. The Boom Ranger is kind of rotation based, but it's more whatever comes off cooldown, you just press that. It's because every other class is spam, whatever ability you have. You know, Knight, you just spam your number one. Right, Revenant, you spam your right click. You know, every class is basically a spam class in this game. And the Chloromancer is nuts, which makes him extremely fun. The only, I can't stress this enough, only annoying thing about him, in my opinion, is that he is stationary and not a lot of mobs are. especially when you have other people in a group. That was kind of an annoying thing when I was doing Shadow Tower carries back in hard modes, was I had to make sure that everyone knew that they had to stand still. If you're gonna die, just stand there and die, because if someone in your group moves, they're gonna move your targets out of the flowers, and then you have to readjust your flowers, and that takes a lot of time to get them healed up, stuff like that. So that's the only downside. I kind of wish that they would maybe, well, this is kind of more of a suggestion, not a wish. In the next Clash Gem roundup, make your Leafy Lasher grow some legs. Just Leafy Lasher. You don't need to do the Pollinator. The Pollinator can be stationary still. Keep the Chloromancer in his theme. That his theme is to be stationary. It's not that he's a bad designed class. It's his exact design is to be stationary and very powerful while stationary. But maybe the Clash Gem next time can make the Leafy Lasher, you know, maybe sprout some legs. It makes sense for this little flower to be running around spinning in a circle at people. Like, you know, it's like a robot, you know, a robot can just spin his body and keep its head still. Kind of like that. I'd like to see something like that, just so he has more mobility. Again, his theme is to be stationary, or I don't want to be gender exclusive or inclusive, whichever. Which one would it be? Exclusive or inclusive? I don't know. I want to be gender neutral. It would be, in my opinion, more fun if he could run around, especially when the majority of gameplay nowadays is not in the Shadow Towers and is out in the open world farming gems. So we're gonna end off with this dungeon, by the way. Whenever I notice that I'm starting to ramble, especially when I was talking about the classes, I was rambling so much. I was probably off topic. But whenever I start to ramble, that's when it's time to stop the video. So this is going to be the last dungeon right here. But just to reiterate, because, again, sometimes when I ramble, it becomes a little gibberish and jumble. I like the Chloromancer. I mained the Chloromancer for a long time. He was one of my favorite classes when it came to Shadow Towers. Still pretty, I mean, he's not my favorite class in Shadow Towers anymore. I still like the Pirate Captain the most in Shadow Towers. I like the Pirate Captain the most in the open, no, I still like the Neon Ninja in open world. Neon Ninja is just too much fun. But Pirate Captain is now my favorite in Shadow Towers, but he used to be my favorite in Shadow Towers, and I have nothing against him in Shadow Towers. He's just not my favorite anymore. I still like him very much, but when it comes to open world, I can't get in the theme of playing him. He's too dependent. Like, look I got knocked back a tiny bit, and those flowers would have never hit the boss because I got knocked back one hit. And that's kind of like the point I'm trying to say is, you know, I don't really like him in the open world because he's too stationary, too stationary. The flowers don't have much of a radius. Maybe they could increase the radius. Would that be better? You guys let me know. What do you guys like better? Leafy Lasher, sprouting legs, or do you want the radius of the flowers to grow? I don't know which one. I think I like the leg version better. But yeah, that's gonna be it for this video. I hope you guys enjoyed it. Sorry if it was a little too rambly. It's pretty late, but yeah, I'll see you guys next time.